So just feel what your back is like. Make sure that you're up high enough that you can really straighten. And that's when we make space so that we can breathe into our belly. And we'll take our inhale. Let that sit you up nice and straight. Find a place to let your hands rest so that your shoulders can relax. And on your exhale, just let your eyes close. We want to soften the muscles in the face. They have a tendency to hold a lot of tension in our jaw muscles, in our forehead, and even the muscles around the eyes. As you exhale, try to let go of some of that held tension in the face. What we'll be exploring as we go through our practice today is the idea of our breathing in yoga helps us to settle. It helps us to come into what we call the present moment. So rather than thinking about what we did earlier in our day or earlier in our week, or thinking about what we have to do in the future, getting tangled up in our to-do list, or thinking about what the rest of our day is going to bring. It allows us to settle into this moment right now, which is a very unusual thing. We actually spend the majority of our time thinking about either the past or the future. We don't spend a lot of time thinking about right now. And the benefit that we get from that is there's a feeling of peace when we settle ourselves into this moment. The saying goes that depression comes from the past, anxiety comes from the future, but when we settle into the present moment, we find peace. And we do this by just focusing on every breath as it comes and goes. Go into the postures of our yoga practice. And just set an intention that no matter what movement we're doing, no matter what posture or what kind of balance we try to do, that we're always going to come back into our breath and see if the breath is short or choppy. And if it is, that's your sign that you want to back out a little bit. If you find a place in your posture where you're breathing freely, where your breath is really deep and you can breathe into your belly, then you know that you're in a good place. And see if you can go a little bit deeper with the breath. And if you need to, you can always put your hands onto your belly. And make sure that the breath is going all the way down there. When the breath is shallow, when we only breathe into the chest, it actually makes us feel more anxious. When we breathe down into the belly, there's this physiological change that tells the body that it's okay to relax, it's okay to let go of that muscle tension. Without doing any kind of movements with the body first. hands up in front of us. Start to walk yourself forward any amount until you feel a stretch, maybe in your hips or in your back. And really walk forward. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is forward bending properly. There's a tendency for people to want to round into their forward bend. You can collapse down into your lower back and the shoulders end up forward. But what we want to do instead is when you come into your forward bend, try to create a long line through your spine. You might not go down as far, but it's a lot safer for your back when you do it that way. So any amount that you can walk your hands forward and keep a long spine. Keep it opening through your chest. Does it bother you sitting cross-legged?
And coming forward that way.
Yeah. You can keep your knees bent out to the front. If that helps, like that, it's usually better if you sit up on the blocks because it gives your hips a little bit more space.
I'm definitely sitting on the box.
Makes a big difference when your hips are tight. And when your hips are tight, if you try to sit cross-legged like that, it transfers some of the stress down into your knees. So that's why it's probably not the most comfortable. So you can just do like that and kind of lean forward. So your knees can stay as bent as you want them to. And like we were saying, it's all about trying to create some space and opening and length through your back. So you stay really straight as you walk down. You can use your hands for support up to the side. Left hand to the outside of your right knee, so going into a twist. You start to rotate your shoulders over to the right side of the room. The most important thing when you're twisting is to keep the spine up straight. Make sure you don't lean back. You start to round through the spine. Nice and straight, and just rotate through the shoulders. As you take your exhale, let some of the tension from the top of the shoulders settle. Left hand behind your back. You can rest it on the mat. You can put it onto the lower back. Wherever it's comfortable to rest that hand. Let your inhale lift the spine up so you can straighten a little bit more. And as you exhale, rotate the shoulders, bending them out deeper. Probably feel a little bit of work through your core, through your abdominal muscles. Keep in the center. And you can switch, take a couple circles in the opposite direction. right knee down. Give yourself a little side-to-side sway just to make sure that the spine stays nice and fluid. And we'll come back into center. We'll do the same thing on the left leg. And move up little circles to the front. And then we'll switch that circle a few times to the back. Drop your left knee down. And we'll take our exhale and roll back into child's pose. Now, if child's pose bothers your knees because it is a lot of bend in the knees, you can take your block and put it underneath your hips, and that way you won't go down quite as far. There's a little bit of support. This is a great pose to work on that lengthening through the spine that we were talking about. As you inhale, try to walk your fingers up toward the front of the mat. Let that stretch you out longer. And as you exhale, put some heaviness back into your hips. Take our inhale, pull forward into table. Get a block back there. Put it over to the side. So just square off our table here. Make sure that your wrists are right underneath your shoulder and your knees are right underneath your hips. We're going to take the left arm and open it up to the ceiling. It's a little bit of a twist. So as you do this, you want to try to pull some of the weight out of your right hand. Make sure you don't drop down into your shoulder. So you're trying to push the floor away from those a little bit. Draw the lower belly in. Reach up to the left hand. And drop your left hand down. And then we'll switch sides, open the right arm to the ceiling. Reaching up through the right fingertip so strongly that it pulls some of the weight out of your left hand. And then check your breath. Make sure that the breath is still smooth. If your breath gets short or choppy, then you know that you want to lower yourself down a little bit. Exhale, drop the right hand down. Do a little side-to-side sway with the spine. Make sure everything's nice and loose. And now this time we're going to do a little flow with that. We'll take the left fingers right up to the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, scoop underneath your right arm. Like you're reaching toward the opposite side of the room. Inhale, open back up to the ceiling. Exhale, scoop under. And then one more time like that. Scoop under. Now you might want to stay lifted and just reach to the opposite side of the room. If it feels okay on your neck, you can lower down and rest your head on the mat. But it's important when you do that pose, if your head comes down onto the mat, your belly is drawing up, so you're pulling all the weight out of your head. It's just resting on the mat. There's no body weight forward. Table. And do the same thing to the other side. Inhale, open your right fingers up to the ceiling. On your exhale, scoop, reach to the opposite side of the room. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach under. And then one more time like that. Inhale, open back up to the ceiling. And exhale, scoop under. So you can stay lifted. You can stay up on the left palm and just reach to the opposite side of the room. If your neck feels okay, you can go down and just rest the side of your head onto the floor. And make sure your lower belly is strong enough to take some of the weight away from your head. You can take your hands and just stack them in front of you so that you have a little pillow to rest your forehead on. And that way the muscles in the back of the neck get some time to relax. We'll work really hard. If your head's on the mat, you can very gently rock your head from side to side. Sometimes when we hold that tension in the back of the neck, it doesn't want to release. One of those spots that will fight us when we try to relax it. So little rocking movements are really helpful to release tension. Inhale, come back up into table. Now let's bring the blocks onto either side of the